Howdy folks, it's me, Brently. I'm here at the Texas State Capitol letting you know that every Friday is FUGA Friday. That's right,
Lord.
fuck you, Greg Abbott. Did you know that he's a piece of shit? Well, he is. We wrote a musical about it and it's happening on October 18th at the State Theater in Austin, Texas. Help us raise money for it. The full production, it's gonna be badass. So I'll be here every single Friday going, FUGA! Howdy folks, it's me, Brently. I'm here at the Texas State Capitol letting you know that every Friday is
So this is him.
FUGA
This is
Friday. That's
this
right,
is
fuck you, Greg Abbott.
the young Greg Abbott right here. This is a photo of him. Is that right, Brently?
Yes. Oh, that beady-eyed, rat-looking young man with a bright future ahead of him is Greg Abbott.
Oh my gosh.
Texas in the 80s.
Do you know what? In the 80s. Okay. Do you know what age? How young?
This age, I feel like this looks like high school. So I don't know. I feel like this is high school, but the show is in 84 where he graduates law school. So if you take it back, this might have been early 80s, late 70s. I don't know. He's got a nice haircut for it.
Hey, everybody. I'm here live on X and Facebook and Twitch and YouTube with Brently Heilbron. Heilbron, right? I said it right?
You nailed it. You
Hell yeah.
stuck the landing.
It helped me to think about Heilbron from Lord of the Rings, the TV show.
Is there a character named Heilbron on Lord of the Rings?
Oh, and the TV show, no spoilers. But I'm here with Brently Heilbron from Fragile Rock, the emo-puppet band, and even more recently, young Greg Abbott, the FuQusical. Brently, it's a special day. We just heard your announcement that was posted today on the reel, but do you want to give like a live announcement here with anybody who's watching?
Yeah, this hasn't been announced yet, but we are taking our show to the State Theater right by the Paramount, right by the Capitol on October 18th, right before Election Day. And hence our FUGA Friday, where we're taking our middle fingers and shoving them up Greg Abbott's backyard. And we're really excited. And we're doing a reading on Monday, which you should definitely come to.
Yeah.
But we kicked off a fundraising campaign today to raise money for our full production. And there you go. Yeah.
And the reading on Monday is at the Trinity Street Players, a little black box theater on like the 3rd or 4th floor of University Baptist Church. Is that
Fourth
right?
floor of a church. Who'd have thunk it that you get subversive punk rock protest musical theater in the belly of a church, say these two Jews. But there we are. So it's on the 4th floor. It's at 9th and Trinity. It's for $5. It's a very populous price. We're just still working out some kinks, and we'd love you to come. If you want to come check it out, we have the songs and the script and the actors, and you'll get to hear how the show is.
And I saw it in, what was it, December? Was that one the last one? Oh my God. Amazing. Amazing. Okay, I'm going to record the Zoom. Just, you might have to click something. I forgot to do that.
Got a consent.
Got a consent. So yeah, is there anything you wanted to so you've got a fundraiser thing. That's what we're kind of here launching in this stream,
honoring
right?
a fundraiser. Yeah, like this is the show that we want to make of the people. We want to represent people. We want to represent people's anger. Anger's got to go someplace. So sometimes it comes out in cathartic vaudeville swear-filled sing-alongs, and so we want to be as loud as possible. And I'm also mainly concerned with Greg Abbott getting a national profile, and we want to make a big stink about him being a piece of shit. So yeah, we kicked off a fundraising campaign today, which you can go to younggregabbott.com and see, or any of our social media if you follow Tin Pan Pally. And all donations are tax deductible because they're working with the Austin Creative Alliance. And so for the how big is your middle finger? You know what I mean? The more you spend, the less you got to pay Joe Biden at the end of the day. So there we
go. I'm so excited that it's going to get a full featured production.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's
beautiful.
Shifting mindsets completely from like, oh, this is just, you're going to hear it out loud. But now to think about what the full production looks like. And so we've been assembling. Al Mahoney, my wife, who is co-producing the show and also in the show, have been putting together an ace crew
Nice.
to actually like, oh, now the show has to actually happen with
Can you
stage managers and crew.
Are you able to give us a taste of maybe just for the reading who's gonna be there and kind of some of the characters they might play, or do you want it to be all a surprise?
I mean, honestly, the show is basically about young Greg Abbott. He's in 1984. He's fresh out of law school. He is about to head to Austin from Houston to go take the bar and start his new life. That's the premise. So it's kind of a Wizard of Oz sort of road. So along the way, he meets all the Texas characters that have kind of shaped his life and that we kind of know and love. So it's like characters like Wendy Davis appears and Rick Perry and people along the way, Ted Cruz here and there. It's 100% accurate. I stand by everything. I actually read his fucking autobiography. So I read his book, but it's 10 original songs, which we think you'll dig, because the songs are really fun. That's all I really want to do is write songs with swears. Yeah, that's the show. So I don't give away too much, but that's the premise, and it's worth a $5.
Can I tell you who plays, at least in the staged reading, who plays Ted Cruz? Can I tell him? It's Michael Trejo. It's Michael Trejo, and I love that you wrote Cruz in there. I feel like he's an important part of in all of this.
I wrote that part for Michael Trejo, and that's Trejo is amazing, and the cast is. I mean, I could sing the cast praises. There's a lot of people. The cast is really great. I'm happy to go through everyone. Michael Trejo is a great Ted Cruz, and I'm like, it's fun to imagine those guys all together at a young point in their lives before they had the power. And it's like, who? That's what I wanted to find out with Greg Abbott. It's like, who the fuck were you before you were a 3-term like powerful, disabled? Like who were you before any of all this happened? Like, anyway, that's what I wanted to find out from his book.
Is this
is what?
Oh, sorry.
It's called Unbowed. No, it's called Broken but Unbowed, I think. That's the name of his book.
Whoa. Have you written a musical before? Is this your first musical, or?
I've written these kind of we trademarked FuQusical, which is the funniest goddamn paperwork I ever filled out of my life. So I used to write musicals like this in school and then like in venues. Yeah, I've written a lot of these punk musicals. This was the first one that like existed in this kind of form though. The first musical I ever wrote, here's a little fun fact. You might not know this. We've known each other for a while. Yeah. It was in college at UT. And I wrote this musical, the sketch comedy musical called Hooray for Gregory Peck's Ass. And it was about Gregory Peck's ass, and it was trained to be a secret weapon. It was real stupid. And then went AWOL and killed a bunch of people in Vietnam. And then we had a Miss Saigon thing where the ass comes out and everybody goes into it. Gregory Peck, we wrote him a letter. It was my college. And we were like, at the time he was living, obviously, write a letter to a dead man. What's the use? But he was alive, and it somehow we got to Gregory Peck, and he wrote us back, our little theater company, our little college troupe. And he goes, oh, and he said, this is my Gregory Peck voice, but I have a letter, and it says, all other honors and accolades pale in comparison to your show. And it was being sarcastic. And then his show is called Hooray for Gregory Peck's Ass. And he wrote us back and he goes, my friend Jack Benny said about comedy. And he gave us some advice. And he's like, this is the solacement of my later years, is what he called it in a letter. And then years later, if there's a biography of Gregory Peck, I have it around here, where in the index you can look up the title, Hooray for Gregory Peck's Ass. Like my name isn't in there, but the title.
Hey, that counts. I think that counts. So, that's amazing.
I love, man, I'll tell you. So we started, El Mahoney is veteran of the stage production scene, ACL and Bass and South by Southwest. And so we started this production company though to create original musicals in Austin, just to give supposed to have some sort of structure to create original musicals, and this is just one I wrote, but there's so many. I would love for Austin to be, there's so many musical theater companies. Like, I would love for Austin to be known for this kind of original work outside of LA or New York or whatever.
You want Austin to be the home of the FuQusical.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right? Wouldn't that be great? That's hilarious. There's so many. It's really healthy. It's a really healthy outlet for rage. And if you're feeling rage and powerlessness, this is how I felt. I am not a political comic. I don't write political shit. It's never been my stuff. When I did stand up, it was not what I wrote, even though I feel politically motivated. It didn't come out in comedy. But I feel like I was feeling very powerless if living under Greg Abbott and seeing him play with people's lives and really just like, and so this is how the rage comes out with me. It comes out going like, ding, 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 ding. I'm a ukulele player, so it's like, I can't help it. It's a vaudeville. It's angry vaudeville, if that's
a good way to put it. I love that. Yeah. So you're a stand-up and a musician and a puppeteer in a puppet emo band called Fragile Rock, and you're in movies, and you're
Master of None. Master of None.
But I mean, the show is the channel is Make Every Media, and I love to interview people that do that make every media and can't seem to focus or don't want to focus on one. Can you tell me why?
That's really interesting. It has been, I feel like the whatever the word you want to use, the bit, the work, the piece of whatever you're working on, the project at the time, feels there's a natural outlet for it. And it's why it's like, I used to do stand-up only, and all of my creative energies went into thinking of stand-up bits. And so when I would think of something, the form it would take was a stand-up bit, a joke or routine or story for decade plus. Like, wow. You know, I was a kid, as a teenager, into my early 30s. And then they started to be like, I would have an idea and it would take the form of like a band, like a German, we were a fake German band in LA for a while. I had that band for a while. And that was great. We would tell people we were from Germany and get all these gigs. It was hilarious.
Nice.
Way to keep up the bit.
Yeah.
Until one of our guys was on True Blood, Todd Lowe, and we got busted. But anyway, so now it's
got busted for not being German.
Got busted for not. He was on True Blood and like as a main character, and so he was our guitarist, and so people were like, "You're a fucking actor." So we got. But for a while, people treated us like we were a German band. Amy Kastner, Amy Blackard, who is in the band leader in Young Greg Abbott, was in this German band with me, and she speaks fluent German, called the New Tickles. It was great. There's footage somewhere, anyway. So now I'm like, when I talk to people that say, why don't you do stand-up anymore? Because I don't think it's not what form these bits take. Like, you know what I mean? Like they take other forms, or they may be taking a musical form right now, but I don't know. I would do stand-up like a long time ago, and they would say, you're too theatrical for stand-up. And then I would be like, you're too stand-up for theater. It's it's like the same shit with like the mic. If you take away a mic, it's a solo show. If you give yourself a mic, it's stand-up. Mm-hmm. It's all the same stuff. And so I feel like the older I get and the more limited my like mental bandwidth and physical bandwidth is, and it's like, I want to shift gears less. That's the goal, right? And so I used to be very like, I don't know what the word like is, like narrow focus. So if I was doing stand-up, for example, at 8 p.m., at 9 p.m. I do improv, and then 10 p.m. I do something else. And so I was like, had to shift constantly into one mindset or another for years, and it's exhausting. But you realize it's kind of all the same thread of you, if that makes sense. So it's less, that's what I'm going for. I'm trying to thread the needle with whoever I am. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, with whoever you are. Sorry, I talked over you during that bit, but with whoever I am.
You. Oh, we're Jews. We should be screaming over each other, like
I know.
Yelling.
Do you know how much restraint I'm showing.
Oh, I'm so impressed.
There were 5 things I wanted to talk about. Todd Lowe, I wanted to talk about.
We can talk about all of them. No, you can interrupt me.
No. No crosstalk while I'm interviewing.
I welcome this.
There's times to crosstalk and there's times to let you rant. Okay, that's That's
what I learned about being a server, and I think everyone in the whole country should have to work in the service industry for 1 year, front of house, back of house.
Yeah.
But as a server, I was like, oh, I learned how to be a good comic, because I'd be like, sometimes you need to chit chat, and sometimes you need to refill their water and dip in the fuck out.
Ooh, like, I like that.
It shows you when to leave the stage. Like, so I understand.
I took
appreciate your restraint.
I audited a few, like half of your stand-up class, like 10 years ago. I think that, and right before that, that's, I think, around where we met at the Institution Theater. Rest in pieces. We love you, Institution. But I've always been intrigued by stand-up, and then to have you kind of lay it out as like, hey, I mean, that was kind of a major kind of thing in your class, was improv, stand-up, sketch. They're not all that different, they're really all on the same spectrum and the same thread of you as you're trying to get your ideas across. And
my whole thing is like, it took me a solid 10 years of flailing and switching back and forth before I came to that, like, oh, the simplest realization. But I want to save people 10 years and be like, don't try. It's all the same shit. It's your art. It's your stuff. And I feel like we get caught up in silos of like, I'm a sketch artist. I'm only stand-up. I'm only improv. That's how I identify with. And like, there's schools around that, and certainly cliques, and like, you kind of have to be a free agent, but it's very liberating. Yeah.
And what is also liberating for me to hear now from you is that you are, same deal. Like, I got limited capacity these days. I cannot. It's funny that this channel is called Make Every Media, because that is impossible. And I set myself up for an impossible goal by creating an LLC,
I think that's awesome, though.
Now I'm more like, well, let me make 3 media. I'm going to focus on like the 2 or 3, I
think it's wonderful, man. I went back to school so I could learn about the business part of show business, because I want to support myself, my family, and also help support others and pay people equitably and learn all about that. Like, it's very important. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons we're fundraising is so we can pay people equitably in this town. I mean, we're working a union shop. The state is a union theater in an anti-union state. And that's what I love about that theater, man. It's like, I wish more. That's a different topic for a different time.
Maybe so. But speaking of the fundraiser, it's fundraiser spelled fundrazr.com/young Greg Abbott. If you want to go contribute, you got 31 days left. Is that right? It's like
doing a quick fundraising push, lots of levels. So if you want to secure a ticket for the show, the tickets are not on sale yet anytime soon. You can get one through this fundraising push. It's one of the levels. You could even get a cameo in the show at one of these levels. You can get all sorts of stuff, and you're supporting political satire in a state where dissent is often being crushed. And so that's what we're trying to do with a bunch of swear-filled, fun, sing-along songs, because that's the power we have. So please donate.
I have to reference this. We have a comment from a viewer on Facebook, Scott, who says, political satire can't exist anymore. Thoughts? Sorry,
I'm out of a
I tried to keep it. I tried to keep it serious.
That's a really good. I want to know more, Scott. But
if you're out there still, Scott, tell us more.
I'm like, I love your power. Like, I lord over comedy, and satire no longer exists.
It's true. I feel this way too, a little bit. It's hard. It's harder. It's certainly harder.
I wonder if you're either saying 2 things. One is, and I'm gonna guess, Scott. One is you are either saying it can't exist because you can't say anything anymore. You're gonna get canceled. This and that. I don't. But the other thing that could be is this: it's so outrageous and so insane that even satirists can't out satirize the shit that they're actually doing. You're just gonna have to say it. And that I think is very valid. I think like satire change in the 50s. We were talking about this before we jumped on because of the McCarthyism in the 50s and how fucking crazy it was. And like a lot of the previous satire kind of died down because you can't out crazy that. That's reality. And so I do think that that's a great valid point, but I think that you can't kill comedy. You can't kill music. You can't kill satire ever. I mean, ever. And I'm not even that old, but I'm old enough to have seen like a fucking cockroach, even in Texas, comes crawling out. Even in Austin, where we have tech everywhere, you can still be an emo puppet band. You can still get your shit out.
Yeah. And the last thing I saw at Trinity Street Players was actually last weekend. I saw, can you believe it, Glenn Ross there in a church.
Did you really?
In a church with the added monologue.
With the Alec Baldwin, the set of steak knives monologue.
Yep, you know what I'm talking about. And
is that canon now? I mean, are we saying that's canon?
A lot of people add it as a tribute, they say, to the beginning. But I actually am curious. I would like to see it without that now because I feel like it's a little bit over the head. Like I kind of want to see how it feels with just the first scene of them in the restaurant.
This is where my mind has been. Maybe yours. Sometimes I listen when I go to sleep, listen to audiobooks or whatever, and I was listening to a recording to go to sleep, mind you, of a audio production of Glenn Ross with Richard Dreyfuss as the Glengarry leads. I'm like listening to this in my ear. I'm like, who was on top? It was Sheldon Levine. But my ass, the Glengarry leads, and then something racist about Patel.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. The racist comments in there are the
so
things that
that's another Mamet. I almost said Sondheim, but David Mamet. That's another one. You go, oh man,
yeah.
You have a very specific point of view, sir. But you did more Mamet than I did.
Well, and I sure did, and that was kind of my feeling at the time when I was doing a lot of Mamet. Towards the end of when I was doing Mamet, was that for a long time I like to justify doing Mamet because I thought it was a satire. I couldn't understand it in any other way than it being a satire of these kinds of guys. But the older Mamet gets, the more we see
think it ages well.
The more we see just of his opinions that maybe this is actually what he thinks. Maybe
he got really conservative and then very wordy about it. One of those I'm Christopher Hitchens now. I'm gonna fucking he's very, very conservative. Likes to talk about it, likes to hear himself talk about it. And
yep.
I don't know. I don't know if art, and I'm from the school, I don't know if artists should shut the fuck up or say what's on their mind. I'm not faulting him for saying what's on his mind, but what's often on his mind is fucking bullshit.
It's terrible. And so we were doing improvised plays in the style of David Mamet, and those were definitely satire, for me at least. We were trying to satirize the whole Mamet thing and the whole men being men and all this stuff. But that should... I felt like that. I felt like at a certain point we lost the thread, or the audience kind of lost the thread when Trump got president and we had a literal Mamet character in the White House. And then it was the satire was a little lost on the audience. They were coming up to us afterwards and going women do be like that, or and so
it's crazy.
Permanent hiatus. We haven't gone back. I need a new channel for my political satire.
I really
maybe it's a musical.
Sometimes your time has come and gone. I mean, shit. Jolson was. You can't do that. Your time has come and gone, my friend.
Yeah.
I think that's very valid. It's a very valid thing to say. I take that for myself, and I'll tell you right now. We were actively looking for a young Greg Abbott for the October. Here's a scoop.
Great. This is great.
I've been reading the role and I wrote this show. I am not my first choice. I always felt that the part of young Greg Abbott, first of all, 47 Jew, but the part should go to a female or trans actor or a female or because I feel like that's a story to tell. That's their story to tell, even more so than my experience under Greg Abbott. My rights haven't been taken away. I'm just angry and pissed at other people. But my rights as a white man are fine. They're fucking fine. And yet I have a daughter, I have a wife, I have friends. I have friends with trans kids. I have trans friends. So I always felt it was more powerful to have someone else in that role. So I'm looking for other people, and I've talked to other people and trying to find the right person, but that's kind of fun. There's something very, very, so that would take me out completely from the performance aspect of it, which is very satisfying.
Yeah. Well, but before you do that, I think you said you brought a ukulele today.
I did.
Do you want to perform something while you still got the role before you kick yourself out?
I'm gonna kick myself out. So this isn't a song that I even sing, but I like this song.
Will you after you give a little explanation, will you turn your original sound on?
Oh yes, let me do it. Turning my original.
After you tell us about the song.
Original sound for music. You know, this is a new hack I learned from Zoom.
Just tonight?
No, recently, but okay. And what happens if I leave it on the whole time? One wonders.
Then I think your voice might get lost in the ambience of the room.
Oh, in the ambience.
Yeah.
I can even teach you the chords, Michael. You can play it with me.
Okay.
I'm a fan of 4-chord songs. Now, there's different songs in the show that obviously break that, but I write everything on a ukulele, and as you, it's a very loving, simple instrument, very, very good for protest musicals. So this is a chord progression that is every 50s chord progression ever. It's this, and tell me, Michael, knows it's a C, A minor, F, G7. I mean, it's Earth Angel, please be mine. It's every chord progression in the 50s ever.
It's the greatest song ever written.
The greatest song ever written. So in this particular song in the show, Greg Abbott has been wandering. He's lost his way. He's been bamboozled. He's lost his belongings. He's kind of wandering in the desert, so to speak. And he is his only friend is the big old Texas moon, who shines bright in the sky, and in my mind is one of those Mac Tonight giant moon heads, like that I would love to see. You know what I'm saying? The guy with the big fucking moon head.
Yeah.
And so anyway, he sings Greg a song about generational trauma, and it's written on the ukulele. And this is actually one of the first songs wrote for the show. And I will say this right now, I do not do it justice. Brian Curry, who's also in Fragile Rock, is a beautiful fucking like tenor or soprano, beautiful voice. I should know that, but a beautiful voice. And
he's at least a baritone. At least a baritone. I'm pretty sure
he's a baritone. I'm a Barry Manilow. So this is anyway. This is that song. You want to play it, Michael, with me?
I'm gonna mute myself because it might mess up your.
Okay.
But I might try to like do a little plucking for the stream, so you'll hear it after the fact.
A minor.
A minor.
For you at home, F. You want to make a protest song? It's C, A minor, F, G7. All right.
Great.
Trauma, rama, ding dong. Trauma, rama, ding dong. When you harass women by court order, you cause when you harass children at the border. That's called trauma. Trauma. Trauma, rama, ding dong. Trauma. Trauma. Trauma, rama, ding dong. Emotional and psychological trauma can not only result in a stressful event, but causes severe disability in daily functioning. Emotional and psychological trauma can not only result in devastation, but when left untreated, can be all-encompassing. Trauma, ooh, trauma, ooh, trauma, rama, do 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 do. Trauma, rama, ding dong.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing.
I like that song.
That's a beautiful thing.
I don't do it justice, but I like that song.
Well, you mentioned Brian Curry, and I happen to have another reel pulled up of Brian Curry singing a little bit. Should we play that real quick?
Yeah.
From your Tin Pan Pally Facebook page. Let's do that. Let's hear who's gonna actually sing this song. Let's hear a little bit of his voice, huh? Yeah?
Oh, sounds great.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna flip scenes back to
I think he's gonna be singing
face.
I Ship Money, I think, if it's on my Facebook page.
Yeah, it's on the Tin Pan Pally. Let me
I believe he'll be singing a little song called I Ship Money.
Yes, that's true. Mm-hmm. Here we go. Okay. Here it comes.
Cottage in the sea, into diarrhea, but not the kind that's brown and runny, the kind that's green, because I shit money, and I'm coming to your town. I shit money. I turned my cottage in the sea into diarrhea, but not the kind that's brown and runny, the kind that's green, because I shit money, and I'm coming to your town. I shit money. I turned my...
Okay, awesome. I got the full thing in there. Back to us. Here we come. All right. Brently, I want to give you a chance to talk about any other projects real quick. We haven't talked much about the Fragile Rock, but
Yeah, man.
if you want to, yeah.
Fragile Rock, shockingly in its 10th year of being Austin's third best emo puppet band. We're making an album right now, which is really fun and exciting. But yeah, still rocking and rolling. Come see it. It's a fun live show if you haven't seen it. I'm shocked that it's, of all the projects that have the legs, like I'm shocked. Here we are still, but it's still fun to do. Cathartic as fuck.
Hell yeah. And it's a entirely puppet band. It's like you're there playing the music,
If
but
you've
then
never seen it, it's a puppet band in front and a band in behind it, but you see everything. It's a big show. It's like a 9-piece band, 9 people total.
Wow.
5 vocalists, 4 musicians, and it's really, really fun. And started it on a lark in Austin 10 years ago, and here we are. So.
I can't wait to see Fragile Rock again. I also can't wait to see this movie that you're in. I don't know. Can we drop that real quick? From one of the Spy Kids movie. Is that right? You're in one of those, right?
We Can Be Heroes.
No, it's not a Spy Kids movie.
I got to fly with Pedro Pascal, bro. Come on.
You're flying in the air.
I'm flying alongside Pedro Pascal. Flying together. And that was real. That's not special effects. We flew.
You together. Actually flew with, and did he carry you? Did he?
He was
the footsteps on the sand.
Wink. Not in this movie. That was a movie called We Can Be Heroes, directed by Robert Rodriguez, where I play Crushing Low, It was I got to fly around. Literally, there's like hoisted on strings. They put me up on like wires, not strings, wires, and I'm literally flying with a big wind machine, and I'm yelling, "I love movies! I love movies!" I couldn't help myself. I was such a kid, but then it's crazy. You go in this room like a van. It's kind of weird, like go in this van, and there's like you stand in this like when you're getting scanned at the airport, like you snap position, and there's like 1,000 cameras taking pictures of you from every possible angle.
Oh yeah.
And then they scan you, and then literally, here's a little movie magic.
Yeah.
It's not me that flies into the building. So they take your little body. They can make Michael Furstenfeld fly into a building.
They made you like a kind of a CGI.
They made me a
model.
little CGI, yay.
Oh, and so they could probably pretty easily print you out a action
Definitely.
figure at this point.
I'm expecting it.
That should have been in your contract.
The neurotic
next time.
Yeah, every kid
Neurotic
has
Jew
a
action figure.
Just in time for Christmas. I want a neurotic Jew.
Oh, lonely Jew on Christmas action figure. Editing
A Jew is
movies.
the happiest person. I will actually argue that Jews are happier on Christmas. There is no family trauma. There's no pressure. There's like sleep late. Go to a movie, have some Chinese food, relax, smoke a bowl. There is this like, the frenzy of my family and it's all one day. We spread our gifts over 8 days. We don't like the pressure. So we spread up our 8 days. So much pressure and consumerism for like a couple hours, which is like, anyway.
No, I agree completely. I'm in too much agreement. Jewish Christmas is my favorite. One of the best inventions ever.
I love Jewish Christmas. I love Jewish Christmas.
When I got married, I inherited a Christmas that I could go to every year, and I've been for the last like 7 years. But this year, for Christmas, for my birthday, which is around the same time, I was like, I just need my lonely Jew on Christmas time. Is that all right? Can I?
It's so amazing, and I feel like every Jew. It's such a like. When I was a kid, like this is when, like in Texas, this is when we go to like Six Flags and shit because it'd be like everyone was in church on Easter. I'd always go to Six Flags on Easter Sunday because no one would be there. It'd be like all the Jews and the fucking atheist parents and their kids, like. I love being a Jew on Christmas. It's such a special. And then everyone started getting Chinese food, and now it bugs me because you can't get a fucking table.
That's true.
I'm gonna say some people here are non-Jews.
Yeah, this is our place.
Going to movies.
This is our one day. This is our one time.
This is our one. Do you know?
You're supposed to be with your family.
What's that? This is our one day. You have family.
Yeah, you're supposed to be around the tree or something, waiting for Santa. I guess.
Ours are all dead. Jews.
That's true.
Somebody's dead.
A good percentage.
As a good percentage of my family's dead.
That's right. Yeah, at Thanksgiving.
Or act like it.
At Thanksgiving last year, somebody's father was like, "So how's the rest of your family?" And I was like, "Dwindling." If I'm being honest with you. But so this brings me to the final question I think that I have for the night, which is this is the fun and no pressure part of the show. I will not hold you to any of this. But what are we working on next? Because we almost did like a thing called Yid Bits that was going to be fun.
You and I have like for
like the 4 years of the pandemic, we've been trying to figure out
at least 8 years of. Well, because
we did like an improv show.
We deeply love each other,
and we did an improv show once, and it went pretty well. And we did like a ukulele showcase once. Yeah, and I think that's all we've done.
We tried to be like, let's really like make a fucking business. Let's collaborate and do this whole project. And for whatever reason, it doesn't happen. But like even
with the Yid Bits, it was that we found it on YouTube, and they already did it. They already did it. People, Yiddish scholars already did what we were gonna do, so we were like, well, shit.
Yeah, they spoke Yiddish way better. Yeah. And ultimately, aren't you glad that happens so much? Right. This is my message. This happens all the fucking time, and it happened to me when I was a stand-up, and I'm sure it happens to creatives all over the world, where you go, I had this idea. I haven't said it to anybody yet, but this is my idea. And then you see it on TV or you see it in the media, you see it by another comic, and you go, fuck, now they didn't steal your bit. It's just the zeitgeist, man. It just means you're on the right track of the right wavelength. That's not the right word, but you know, like you're on the right track, man.
Yeah.
Like, so don't get discouraged because another idea that's someone hasn't done.
Right. It was a good idea. It was a good idea. And it
was a good idea, and someone did it better than you. And you're
or
like,
they just did it
fair
first while you were thinking about it. If
they
you
got
if you don't act.
Alec aboard. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, what are we gonna do? What's next for? I mean, obviously, I don't plan on having anything this year because you're gonna be busy fundraising for this the musical. But I think we should make a movie. Are you interested in making movies still?
Yeah, man.
Like little improvised short film, maybe. That seems like it would be pretty easy for us to do.
What do you want to do?
That's what I mean, that's kind of like, I think my go-to right now is let's make an improvised short film together and see how that goes. Because it's just like we could talk about, you know, some stuff we want to try out, some characters we want to try out or whatever, or not characters, or just be ourselves. And I think that's kind of the stuff that I'm drawn to these days, is where it's like half process, half product. Like I wanna film the making of the short film, you know, or just like this could be the beginning of it. This is the pre-production. We're having this conversation, you know. Since
this is your thing, I will say you've definitely encouraged me to open up the process. Like you've been a big proponent of like me, and that is not my nature. I'm very much like, let me have the idea, then I'll marinate, and then we'll like do the show, and everybody will see. But like, opening up the process is really important. We did that reading that you were at, and open up to a lot of feedback, good, bad, all the negatives, all the shit that isn't working, and like I think that's really helpful. So thank you, Michael Versenfeld, for encouraging me to be braver.
I'm so honored that
open myself up to criticism.
I'm so honored that you, that you think I had something to do with that.
Definitely do. Oh, you definitely do. You have been, and I told you this when we saw each other last, but you had a show on Not This American Live or something like that. And I had to do like a monologue, and I forgot what the assignment was. It was something real. It was something like, and that's not my comedy, man. And so, and I had to tell some story of divorce, or I can't even remember what it was. I do remember. But anyway, I was so scared, and it went really well. And it was really a great room that you made. But like, again, you've consistently over the years pushed me to push past myself, even though you may not have realized that you have been helpful in helping me grow as a performer and a creative person. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for saying that. And so, the stage reading, you got all this feedback, and we
got lots of feedback.
Yeah.
It's really good. What things didn't work, and you know, you could hear a lot of times what doesn't work too, but it's really good to have other people's voices. We really do want this to be a show of the fucking people, and so we made some changes, added some new songs. So if you did see the reading or want to come back, it's this Monday night, and it is new. You'll have some new songs, 2 new songs, and 8 p.m. for $5. What a steal.
Oh, so good. And you'll be contributing to a good cause, which is putting this on Congress at the state, right down the street.
Congress.
Right down the street from the
Capitol. Very excited. And we get the fucking marquee.
You get the marquee.
That's what I just wanted. It's like, this is like very Sagittarius. We just shoot our arrows and hopefully they land in someone. And so it's like, but we get the marquee. I just want Greg Abbott to know about it. I wanted to invite him to the show. I want him to know. I want him to be briefed on it. I want him to know about it. That's all I want. I want him there. Can you imagine? I had a friend that did Pamela Ribbon, who's used to live in Austin, went to UC here. Brilliant writer, wrote for Moana. Great writer, and does her own, very successful right now. But when she was in Austin, we worked together a lot at UT. When she went to LA, she wrote this show based on Anne Heche's autobiography called Call Me Crazy. And she turned it into a show of female monologues of of actresses delivering monologues from Anne Heche. All they were doing was reading Anne Heche's biography. Hilarious. Very, very successful underground show. I was there the night. I was in the back of the house. And fucking doors burst open and Anne Heche walks in the fucking house. And everyone is laughing uproariously at her words that weren't meant to be taken. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. Can you fucking imagine if Greg Abbott busts in the fucking house and shuts me down? It'd be amazing.
I hope that for you. I hope that you get shut down by Greg Abbott. That's my
almost got beat up by
wish.
Judd Nelson once, and it was because of my big mouth. And I really I want Greg Abbott. I want this for me. I want that for me. I want to be shut. I want Greg Abbott to be this is canceled. like we're in Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo when they're shutting down the dance or whatever.
Well, now I want to hear the Judd Nelson story, but I don't know how much time we got.
I'll make it quick.
If you got time.
When I first started playing music, I was really shy about it because I was really nervous about playing music live because I was only doing comedy. And I didn't want to take it to a comedy club because people would expect funny songs. But if I did funny songs in a music venue, they wouldn't expect funny songs. And so I started playing ukulele, and because to overcompensate for my insecurities, I started going to the sound guy and be like, listen, I'm going to kind of be a dick. It's kind of a character and just fuck with me back. And so I'd be like, this ukulele it still comes out going ding ding ding. Even if you're getting angry, I'd be like, so I was kind of being I'd go to singer-songwriter nights in LA. And I would often complain mid-song, just stop about how whoever celebrity was harassing me or some beef I had with I'd pick some 80s celebrity at random. I would say, so one night I said, Judd Nelson, I know a lot of what you're here because of what Judd Nelson said about me in the papers. Also, I said it in the papers. And so I said, I know he's not here, but his people are here. So let me just say this. And I would go off, C. Thomas Howell or whatever I said, and then go back and play. But the joke was I would interrupt myself a lot to defend myself against defamations. And anyway, the club is the Rainbow Room in LA, where a lot of 80s celebrities go. And as I'm leaving to put my ukulele in my shitty ass car, Judd Nelson is staring at me, and a toady is pressed up against him, talking him down from kicking my ass, going, he ain't worth it. This motherfucker ain't nothing. You're Judd fucking Nelson. You're Judd fucking Nelson. And apparently he was there. His people were there. Anyway, had I gotten a clock in the chops, I would have absolutely deserved it.
If only.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
Damn that toady. I wish that your chin had met that fist. Yes, this has been amazing. We haven't figured out exactly what we're gonna do together yet.
We haven't, but I'm open to whatever. I feel like,
and I want it to be
an inspiration.
I want it to be low pressure for you because you got a busy year coming up.
I would love to do Jews Own the Night again and do the most controversial Jewish. Just see what happens.
Well,
and, get a bunch of Jewish performers.
I was gonna say, so coming up, I think you've got a Fragile Rock show on 420, I believe.
We do have a Fragile Rock show on 420, and you have your show on 420
and
too.
On the same night, we've got the Rock and Roll Seder happening at Cold Town Theater at 8 p.m. on 420. It's gonna be a Passover cabaret. It's like taking the Passover usual story and chopping it up and giving it to a bunch of Jewish and non-Jewish performers to see what they make of it. Where's your Fragile Rock show?
At Central Texas Machine Works.
Okay.
On the east side. Nice big brewery. But
if you can make it before or after,
I think there's actual scenario where I do think that the timing is going to work out where I can see your show, which makes me really happy.
All right. Well, yeah, come and search for the Afikoman with the rest of us by the end of
it. It makes me so happy that you're doing this show.
Dave Buckman's going to hide it because he's the grandfather of Cold Town, he said.
He's not Jewish, though, is he? His wife is.
Yeah, no, they're both.
He Jewish?
They both are. Yeah.
I would love to do I just actually want to get all those Jews in a fucking room and go, Can we talk about being Jewish right now?
It's kind of weird, right? I mean, like,
weird, right?
I'm honestly, and I'd love to do the show. I'm doing less live performance these days, though, and I am wanting to kind of like film more things. So I wonder if there's a scene that we could do about the show, like as if we are the Jews on the Night guys, and we're doing the scene of like,
define who those guys are. No,
Yeah.
I think that we came into that show and it was very like, we're gonna be like these like terrible, it's like Israeli pop opening. We had this Israeli pop kind of synthesizer opening, which I love.
Yeah.
And but then we were like, let's do like shtetl stories. And then we were like,
That's
no, it's
true. We did a whole mythological shtetl story.
mythological thing,
Wow.
which is like everything I would have ever wanted to see. But I would love I would love to work with Vodorsky and Buckman and let's do the Jewy, like broach it with them, and like I'll invite them in. But like if we were this like troupe, it's like the Jews on the Night to me was hilarious because it's the play off of Jews on the Media and Jews on this and Jews
And
on
it was also
like
Jews on the Night.
yeah, it was like a lot of
Belongs
this. Jews
to
on the
us.
Night.
Yeah, Jews don't own the
Sparkle
media.
motion.
We don't
like-
really own the media, but we do own the night. That's
We
one
own
thing.
the night.
That's for
It's so
sure.
funny. I don't know why it made me laugh. It's like Jews own the night. We own the night, y'all. It's just like a DJ would say it.
What if this is my pitch, can change later, but so we're about to do the show at Cold Town, and Buckman is telling us why the show is canceled.
Oh, because of your you self-hating Jew. I know. I would love
Something
to do
like
anything.
that. I don't know. Yeah, well, we'll keep working it out. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about characters and like what kind of things we want to make these days.
I haven't
Yeah.
thought about those characters, but I would absolutely 100% be down to explore. I didn't even think at the time we did that show who those characters were. We just wrote an Israeli pop anthem.
Right. And that was it. That's how it started. That was the framing, and then the rest was just like standard shtetl stories.
Chaos, Jewish chaos.
Mostly chaos, because we're kind of chaotic together, and we can do the crosstalk real well, I think. That's why.
Oh yeah. Well, Jews know how to process trauma through comedy, and like I'm not saying, and other people do that too.
Yeah.
And that's great, but that's such a Jewish fucking trait of like, oh my god, the nightmare thing happened. Let's make a joke.
Yeah.
About
Well,
it. Like
so that's
Purim. And Purim's coming up.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, so that's a part of my, and we're on an ad break now, so people on Twitch can't even see this. Woohoo! Unless they subscribe. But sort of one of my things with this project that I want to make, where it's like a kind of a half process, half fiction. You know, like half of it is we're doing a sort of a standard just conversation, like what we're doing now, except we're in person, and it's kind of a standard documentary conversation, interview type thing. But then like the theme, if anything, is, you know, I mean, originally I was going to be doing like loss of theater venue spaces, or like making sure the arts community, and, you know, making sure that we document all these spaces. So I was going to have each one be sort of attached to a location, like. So it's like, that's why I like Cold Town, you know, because Cold Town is very temporary right now. They've got this space for maybe another year or two or something, and then it's gone. So I want to like capture it with a short film. But then a part of that, and a part of this is a part of my life now, is the grief, you know, just like losing people, losing things, losing yourself in Austin, losing, you know, people while you're in Austin and can't get to them. You know, all these things are swimming around in my mind, and so they're gonna be in any project I do, whether or not I make it explicit. So that's kind of like some of the thematic stuff. So if that, and if we have to be more grounded to access any of that stuff and play brothers or fucking whatever, you know, I'm interested in that too, potentially.
You know, but most people don't. If you came to the last reading the night before my mother passed away, and the reading was the next day.
Good
and
Lord.
So it was insane, but it was very cathartic at the time. But I don't even think I processed my grief enough to translate it into art yet. Like, I don't even think I was lucky to have an outlet that was like angry, which grief goes hand in hand. Like, it's beautiful bedfellows of anger. But yeah, I mean, I'm down with doing a lot of cool shit for you, man.
Angry
you're so
vaudeville.
talented.
Angry fucking vaudeville.
Angry vaudeville.
I love it. The night my dad went into a coma, I had Sondheim for One improv show to do. And I was like, I had this crossroads. Right. Like, do I go to Fort Worth? I mean, he's in a coma and it's not like he's going to die tonight. But, you know, can I do this show? Can I focus enough to do a show? And yeah, I think it was a little cathartic. And then I went straight to Fort Worth, and it wasn't like that changed anything. Like, it was still another 2 weeks before. I mean, this time he survived. You know, he's no longer with us at this point. But like, oh my God, it was all wrapped up together. And a part of the reason I don't even like really do improv anymore, honestly, is that, you know, I don't want to be committed to a show I'm not even getting paid for. It's not even my thing. It's like, you know, and
that's a whole different ball game. It's like free labor, man.
Yeah.
It's not a sustainable economic model.
Yeah.
And like, that's a different conversation.
Well, it is, but it's still a little bit the same conversation, because I'm so glad that you're thinking about that stuff in your,
it's really important.
Production company.
We have got to pay people, and you can't expect people to commit. With this project especially, it was like, listen, you're committing to a reading, and everything is like project to project. You are not committing to the full show. Even you have the first right of refusal, but like, you have every right to be in the show, but you're not committing to it until you know what you're getting paid and what the layout is. And like, we need to pay people equitably. We're not in a union state. It's a right to work state. And so Zach Scott is a union buster house, man. It fucking sucks. And so like, we're not even used to actors getting treated equitably and paid equitably in this town, let alone improvisers or sketch comedians. Like, you work for free.
Yeah.
Unless sometimes you even pay.
Yeah.
Like,
somebody even last week was like, I think the next big scandal to hit the theater scene is going to be like improv people getting paid, at least like workers, you know, staff.
Jesus Christ.
Staff
and then they condemn you
yeah.
for not working hard enough, or like going, I'm going to do other things and work. Well, you're not loyal. That's bullshit. That's a fucking cult. And that's bullshit. And that has to stop. And so like, we got to pay people equitably. And if we can't, then we can't do the fucking kind of shows we want to do. Like the big, huge shows, the big things that we want to do and run, and like people to give their time to weeks and weeks or a month or more of rehearsal.
Yeah. Good Lord.
That's a lot of free labor.
How are people supposed to survive? Speaking of cults, I have one pickup for this conversation that I took a note of like way earlier, and that was Gregory Peck's son. Do you know about him?
No.
He's the current Spock on television. Did you know that?
He is?
That's Gregory Peck's son.
On what?
He's in Discovery and Strange New Worlds. If you haven't seen either of those, he's pretty good.
Gregory Peck's son.
He's a little bit. He kind of sounds. He's very. I mean, he's doing a
Spock.
Damien. He's doing a bit of a Spock thing, which is, it's weird that he's not Jewish and Spock. I'm assuming Gregory Peck was not Jewish. I don't know.
I had a friend that was like, he goes, yeah, and I'm
like Spock, and brought this into the thing, this Jewish symbol into the whole mix.
Oh yeah, Spock is way Jewish, man.
Leonard
totally
Nimoy,
Jewish.
Like Gene Roddenberry. Gene Roddenberry was just asking, like, what's a good? He didn't even know what's a good. These people need a handshake. What's some kind of symbol or something.
Bullshit,
and Leonard Nimoy was like, well, the rabbis at the end of the service do this. How's this?
Like, use it, print it, print.
We're gonna take it from the Jewish people.
We're gonna take it from the Jews.
Now it's the cult of Star Trek.
Have a thing where they pinch your neck and you die. Yeah, the Jewish neck pinch. Oh, I'm gonna call it the Vulcan neck pinch.
Well, right now this has been a great mind meld, my friend.
I'm gonna take the Jewish mind melds. It's fucked up being Jewish. I don't think we'll ever be over being Jewish.
No.
And, Richard Lewis, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
God, what a Jew. Like,
what a mensch.
I don't think when you're born Jewish is something you never get over.
Yeah. Whether you're religious or not. Like, you can't.
It doesn't matter if you're religious. I'm not especially religious. I didn't grow up religious, but I'm Mel Brooks Jewish.
Right. Yeah,
I'm Three Stooges Jewish. I'm so Jewish.
I'm very Mel Brooks Jewish. I'm and I am Leonard Nimoy Jewish. I realize a long time ago I asked him a question when he came to speak at Gregory Gym at UT for the Hillel, and it was about his. It was supposed to be about his Jewish journey through life, and he, shared with us his photo books where he took Jewish symbols, and took photos of naked women and sort of juxtaposed them in this, and wrapped, things around, sort of, and or like made their bodies the shape of Hashem or whatever, and I was just like curious as a young.
He did a lot of nudes.
As a young Jewish boy, I was confused, and I wanted to ask, what is?
When I lived in LA, I went to the temple that like Carol Channing and Leonard Nimoy went to.
Oh shit!
Temple in Hollywood, Temple Israel of Hollywood, I think it was called. And Leonard Nimoy, his like book of nudes.
It was there.
Like there, yeah, man. The man's an artist. You know who also took nudes? Harold Lloyd. The silent film star, hanging on the clock.
Oh,
took a lot of nudes. Marilyn Monroe took a lot of nudes at his house. Just saying.
Hey, nothing wrong with it, but I was just curious, like, what it had to do exactly with this Jewish journey, and like, what does it mean to him to be Jewish? And like, people, I asked him this question, and he gave a very sort of, to me at the time, it felt like kind of a cop out or a political answer, which was that if his, that he considers himself Jewish, not religiously, but in culture and in his dated, he is Jew, and if his parents had been in this country at this time, he would not be here today. That was his kind of question, and everybody applauded. Everybody went nuts for that. But then I was walking back to my seat, and everybody was giving me the stink eye, like like I asked him, and then he canceled his autograph signing. But I think it was more about the question that Michael Joplin asked him, which was more about like in episode 142. But I now feel that way, I now feel that way. Like I feel like my family barely escaped, and I also like I'm not religious. I am culturally. I am like. I still am because I was born that way, and I do love aspects of the culture, and I can't help it, and also I wouldn't be here if things had gone down slightly differently. So like, it's cool. It's cool, Leonard Nimoy. I love you. Anyway, that's the end of the conversation. I think I should let you go. You've got a campaign to run.
I've got a life to live. The point is, I'll do anything with you, Michael, first and foremost.
Hey, Brently Heilbron.
We're going to find our project.
We're going to do something, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow.
From the river to the sea, as they say in Israel.
Sometime soon. Love you, my man.
Love you too, buddy.
Thanks for being here. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We are live on Twitch and X and Facebook. Give us a follow on Twitch and subscribe if you can. That would really help us. That would really help me out. I love to have these conversations with media makers. If you're working on something, let me know, and we'll have a conversation about it. It's great. Hey! No crosstalk at all. It'll be great.
Ruach.
Ruach. That means spirit. Let's do it. Tikkun Olam, let's heal the world through theater and satire and comedy. And all right, I love you, my man.
All right, bye, buddy.
I'll talk to you soon. I'm going to my credit sequence, everybody. Goodbye. Hey, thanks for watching our show today. I hope I was entertaining, or that the show was entertaining. If you liked it, don't forget to give us a follow here on Twitch or on YouTube, and turn your notifications on. We also have a Bandcamp with some of our music on it, and a SoundCloud, a podcast you can also find by searching for Make Every Media wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, I really like to help other people make their media. I'm trying to fill my days with that, make it a full-time preoccupation collaboration. So if you want to collaborate or hire the whole team, we have a website at makeeverymedia.com where you can see more of our work and book us directly, or you can just email us at makeeverymedia@gmail.com. I mean, honestly, it's nice to just have you here watching it all. If that's all you can do, thank you. But if you do want to show more support and help us keep making more of this kind of content, the best way to do that is to become a Patreon or a Buy Me a Coffee supporter, or to subscribe to our Twitch channel, which you can do for free if you've got an Amazon Prime account. Links to all of that at linktree.com/makeeverymedia. I think that's it. I think that's the wrap up. Have a wonderful day, or night, or morning. And now, back to the present day so we can roll credits.